Aloha Stampers, this is Cheryl from Create with Cheryl, and thanks for tuning in to I'm Glad You Asked. I try to come on here every Friday with a video to answer one of your questions. So I had a question today from Marin, one of my great customers, that she wanted to know how this card was made. It's in the mini catalog on page 29, and it uses Beautifully Braided. So it's this one here. It's really pretty, and so I had to mess around with it a little bit to figure it out. And I hope you'll stay tuned to so that you can see how it's done. Here's the stamp set, Beautifully Braided, which is retiring. Just as I just got it. I think this is the first time I used it, and it's really pretty. So stay tuned and see how we make this card. I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful card that's in the mini catalog on page 29, and this one right here. And it's made using Beautifully Braided, which unfortunately, I just got this. This is the first time I'm using it, and it's already retiring, but I really, really like it. Valerie made a card for our Stamp-A-Stack, and it was so simple but beautiful. So it's still available on the retiring list if you guys would like to purchase it. But I'll show you how to make this, okay? So I'm starting with Daffodil Delight. This is cut 8.5 by 5.5 and scored down the middle. And then I have a piece of old olive that is just 1 inch by 5 inches. And I'm using watercolor paper that's, I cut 5.25 by 3.25 inches. So the first thing I had to do was, I tried to get this on this stamp on, what are these, my E blocks, which are the biggest one I usually use, but it didn't, you know, it had a little bit of the stem hanging off, and I thought I might use that. So I'm using my huge one. I don't like to use it that much. It's a little bit cumbersome, but it's an F block, and this is the one that you need if you're going to buy border stamps or anything. It's the biggest one. So it works fine. It's just kind of heavy. Okay, so I start with Old Olive. And again, because it's such a really big stamp, if I was stamping like this, I might not get it inked up evenly. And I also might have a few lines where I'm doing this. So I like to do it upside down for the big stamps. And I just ink it up and make sure, you know, it looks like I've covered everything in the middle and stuff. So, okay, let me do this without dropping it. Okay, you got to press down really hard in the middle, because this is the part that's not gonna, ooh, that's good. One more time. I'm just gonna do it right over in this edge. Okay, I like that. So pretty. Okay, so what you do next is use your spritzer. Have you guys ever used these? Once in a while, I use them for different things. And for this watercolor, I'm gonna try to just do a little bit, like 3 times. I'm not sure how high to hold it, and I think that probably makes a difference. But let me just try. I only did it 3 times. The reason is, I could do a little bit at the, okay, that was 4 times. Because when I did this the first time trying to practice, This is how it turned out. This was spritzing it 6 times, and I'll probably throw it away. I don't know if this is even savable, although I could try to do something with it. But I didn't want it quite that messed up. And then I'm going to dry it with my heat embosser. I like this up there. I didn't get enough down there. It's just, I turned it over to try to get it so it wasn't so crinkled up. Yeah, I think it's dry. It's dry. It does bend a little bit if you keep embossing it like that. Now, I really like that up there, and I didn't get enough down there, but you know, it's going to turn out differently every time, and sometimes you have to just tell yourself that you really like it, and it is. It'll turn out great. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss a white image on top. So I'm just cleaning it. This is such a big stamp. It needs a little help. So, okay. So I'm going to use Versamark on here again. If you haven't heat embossed, you are really in for a treat, because heat embossing it never gets old. I'm just doing it off a little bit. I'm going to press really hard. And this is hard because I can't see what I'm doing at all. Like, you don't see anything on there. You just have to believe that it did something. But anyway, wait till you guys see this. It's so fun. Okay, so I've got Versamark stamped on there, which is kind of a, mine's all yucky right now, but it's kind of a clear, sticky stamp. So I know it's on here, so I don't want to touch all over this. And I put my embossing powders in these little Tupperware things, because then they're really easy to do it right over the tray. This is what it looks like right now. You can see the white image. And so I'm going to heat emboss that, and you guys watch this as I do it. Oops. I kind of stay in one area until I see it changing. See how it's, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to hold it up a little bit so you can see when it's happening. I just slowly go over it until I make sure that, and it's hot. And I think I got it all. Isn't that pretty? Really love that. That's like the best part of the card, is that embossing. And I'm gonna, oh, actually, I need to emboss this part too. I usually wipe with an embossing buddy. I didn't do it on the other because it might have still been wet or something, but that's so that you get the oils from your fingers aren't still on the paper. And see, my paper's all warpy now. I'm going to do it way down here on this because it's flat. Where's my stamp? Guys, I lost my stamp. Oh, here it is. Okay. So your smile brightens my day. I like that. So you know what I noticed is they retired this embossing buddy. I mean, what are they doing? It's always kind of a mystery until I really go through everything and figure out if they're replacing it or what. Let me see where I want it. If this is going this way, I want it like this. Okay, and I do the same thing. Here's the powder. And see how it has the line right there? You just want to flick it and get it off of there. And if you don't get it all off, usually I have a little teeny paintbrush or something that I can get that off. I hope you can see it changing. I'm not sure if you're close enough. But it's magical. I love it. Okay. Isn't that pretty? I just love it. And you can feel it when you, it's a little bit wet right now. I'm not going to touch it for about 10 or 20 seconds. But as I rub my finger over it, you can feel the raised image. Yes, heat embossing. You guys should do it. Okay, where's my card? So back to, I think this is what I was working on. I'm going to grab an aqua painter because they had painted it just a little bit on that card. Actually, they did it a little outside the lines. That was kind of cool. Be careful with watercoloring that you don't keep going and going and going trying to make it perfect, because you'll wreck it. You just want to do a little bit and then you'll be surprised at how you like it later. I promise. Okay, I think I'm going to stop. And then it had, okay, so that's two techniques. It had the spritzing and it also has splattering. And this is another one that, let me see if I can get this right. So I'm squeezing this aqua painter so that water comes down here. I'm going to grab a bunch and I'm just going to like knock it against my finger like that. There you go. I think it looks really neat. I'm going to dry it a little bit more so that so I can glue it. Okay, so for the card, let me think. I'm going to use some Tombow, and this was right on the edge. Okay, and I'm going to put it like this just to get it right on the edge. See, can you see that? Isn't it neat? That white embossing, so pretty. Okay, so before I put this one down, they had some linen thread tied around it. So I'm going to do it around twice. And when I'm doing bows, I tie it in a knot first so I can play around with it. I think that's It was actually really close to the edge. And you know what it had on it, but I don't have any. It had a little trinket. So I did have one of these. I don't really have the right things. It had a trinket from Bird Builder that I'll just thread it on here and see what it looks like. I have one left. What are these? These are leaves trinkets. So I'm not even sure if they're current right now, but you know, we have those trinkets and they're really fun. So if you ever don't know what to do with them, this is one idea. And you could also, if you didn't want to do thread something through, you can just put a glue dot and stick it on there. I'm almost done. Ooh, it's really cute. Now my measurements, this is what it looked like to me in the book, was that the watercolor piece is a 1/4 inch longer than the green. Oh, I'm gonna have to just hold it for a while because it's still a little warpy. It's really a pretty card though, real unusual. So I'll hold this down a little bit better. And there's the finished card. What do you guys think? I really like it. That was pretty. Thanks, Marin, for asking me to do that, because that was challenging for me, but I really like it. So this card was full of techniques today. We had the spritzing, the splattering, a little watercoloring, and heat embossing. Really great, fun techniques. So I hope you guys try those. Thank you so much. Isn't that a neat card? That was fun. Thank you, Marin, for your question. And please, anybody that has any more questions out there, I'll try to make a video for you on I'm Glad You Asked. Okay, aloha.